Hello friends, welcome back. And I also welcome myself back as well. It's been a long pause, about 2 months, and the reason behind the pause is that my parents were able to visit us in the US for the first time in 8 years. And I wanted to spend as much time as possible with them and decided not to do anything other than being with them. So that's the reason I already posted this to the community tab or community side of YouTube. I'm not sure what it is called, but I finally am back. They went back to Turkey last week or a couple days ago, and I am ready to enjoy some flight simulation. I hope you all have been doing okay. Since this last 2 months, I wasn't able to keep in touch with anything at all, including the Discord server, so my apologies for that, but this was very important for me to be with my parents and enjoy their time here. A lot has changed in the 2 months. We have a sim update, world update, we have a couple aircraft that was introduced, and we are going to kick off the videos again with a short flight using the latest Microsoft release, the ATR 72-600. As you already know by now, it has two variants, 42 and 72, which is the longer fuselage. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of videos about this aircraft out there. It already received an update, which was well appreciated, and I believe there are some more things on the way, such as SimBrief integration or editing the weight and balance or the payload using the EFP, which will be much appreciated when they are released. But today we are going to take her for a spin in its current state. So we are currently parked in Turkey at Eskişehir Airport, and this flight will be to my hometown, Kayseri, from Eskişehir. In real life, this flight does not exist. None of the airlines in Turkey fly from Eskişehir to Kayseri, and the livery you see behind is Borajet, which was a former Turkish airline that operated probably about 2 years, maybe 10-12 years ago, and they were doing domestic short hops where you won't be able to justify the cost with an airliner such as a Boeing 737 or A320. So they did that for a while, but I think due to lack of passengers or profitability, they just stopped everything and they don't exist anymore. All right. So first things first, we'll jump into the cockpit, start powering the aircraft. I'm pretty sure you have seen a lot of videos. So this will be my version of cold and dark startup for the ATR 72. And we will immediately request boarding, and by the time the boarding is complete, I believe we will be done with setting the aircraft up. So let's hop into the cockpit. Here we are. Welcome to the cockpit or flight deck of the ATR 72-600. We are in a cold and dark state, as I mentioned. First thing we'll do is obviously turn the batteries on, but we gotta make sure the wipers are in the off position. All the lights are off, fuel pumps will be not running by default, battery selector is at the main battery, landing gear is down, flaps are retracted, gust lock is in the lock position, and parking brake is engaged. So that's the flaps. This aircraft does not have spoilers. Alright, so back to the overhead. We'll unguard the switch. Put the main battery to on. This will turn the DC systems of the aircraft. And you are probably hearing the aircraft systems coming to life now. There will be a self-test. The screens will do. And we will also turn the nav lights on. The beacon was on by default in the first version, the release version, but they fixed it with the update, so it's off when you start cold and dark. We are going to introduce ground power. It's available right now. And we will continue our flows from top to bottom, left to right for the overhead, and then we will configure our MCDU, MCP, and we will be on our way. You can start this aircraft in two ways, and you'll probably know it right now. The prop brake acts like helps the second engine or right engine to act like an APU. This aircraft does not have an APU, as you probably already know by now, but that will prevent the propeller from spinning, and the engine will generate AC power to the aircraft. But today we are on GPU power, so we can turn the external power on. There's also AC wild bus. This provides AC power to some of the aircraft systems, so we will also turn that on. And we will go down, set our integral lighting and overhead lighting. We don't need the floodlight at this point. Screens are hopefully bright enough. We can cancel that master caution, and the screens will come to life when we are ready, by the time we are ready. Alright, I'm trying to find some information about the airport, like the METAR, and hopefully I will be able to get that to us. I'm not sure if I can do it from Navigraph, but let's go and check the METAR from, oh, no METAR allowed, oh, yep, this one. So the QNH is 1017. That's all I need for now. We will take a look at the winds and everything else if we need to, but all I need is the QNH. We will set the barometric pressure to 1017. That's set. And we will continue with the overhead flow. So over here, the pumps, although this aircraft does not have any failures introduced, but you can still test the pump is running. The feed low pressure light should extinguish. Same for the engine 2 pump. And you can also test the crossfeed by doing this one more time, and both lights should extinguish because we are crossfeeding from one tank to both engines. They are all working. We'll go up. TLU needs to be in the auto position. I think this is the service test. We also have a fire system test for the fault and fire warning, as well as the squib. That's working. Down below, the lights are in the correct positions. Prop brake, we can get it engaged and get it ready for powering the right engine. DC generators can come online. They will fault for now because the engines are not running. Nothing here. Cockpit voice recorder, you can test if you like. Down below, emergency exit lights or emergency lights are in the arm position. We'll turn on the window heat, and we'll turn on the AC generators as well as the hydraulic pumps. Nothing else here. Down below, that's the air conditioning system as well as the oxygen system. We turn the oxygen on, and that's pretty much the overhead except the passenger signs until we load the aircraft. Speaking of which, according to our flight plan from SimBrief, let's just do that. It's done in the Microsoft Flight Simulators menu for now until it's implemented into the EFB. But our block fuel for today's flight is 2,260 kilograms. We will round it up to 2,300 or something close. Perfect. Our payload is 4,342, 43. Let's see if we can get close to that. We'll take 480. That's close enough for me. So that's how you load the aircraft and add your payload. That is now done. The aircraft is fueled. We can turn the passenger signs on, and the no device acts like a no smoking sign. That's all done. We don't touch the MCP yet, we just go and start programming our FMC. Init page, first thing we do is the position initialization. Our GPS position is available, so we select that. This was not copied when you click in the first revision, now it does. Return. Next thing is the nav data. We check that to make sure our nav data is current. Next one is the units. All looking good in my setup here for where I am. Weights, we just press and hold the line select key for the zero fuel weight after selecting our weights and balances through the Microsoft Flight Simulator's menu. And do the same thing for fuel on board, and that will give us a 1.1 up trim setting. We'll return and do the performance initialization. Our cruising altitude today is going to be, let me see here, I think it was 17,000 feet, but I'm double checking that to make sure. Yes, it's 17,000 feet, so we'll type it in. And our alternate airport today is Asobo, Lima Tango Alpha Charlie, and we will fly there at 19,000 feet to avoid any traffic. This is just guesswork. I am just guessing these numbers. I'm not getting them from anywhere, so just be aware. That's the performance initialization, and the last thing we need to do is the flight plan initialization. Alright, let's do the flight plan initialization. First thing is to enter our route. We are currently at Lima Tango Bravo Yankee, and we are traveling to my hometown, Lima Tango Alpha Uniform. Our flight number is Tango Kilo 1453. And that's all I need for now. We will execute this, and that will carry us to the flight plan page. First thing we need to do is select our departure. There was a bug that froze the FMC. That was resolved in this version, but I think there are some improvements in the works that we might expect to see in the next update. So we are departing from Eskişehir via the Toki 1 Charlie departure using runway 27. So runway 27, Toki 1 Charlie with no transition. So that's good, and we will continue with our flight plan. From Toker, we are taking an airway. We are not able to enter the airway in this box yet. That might come in a future update. We are going to line select and pick the airway that we will be taking, which is Lima 614. And we will exit at Hammering intersection. Let me see where it is. Right here. From there we are going to take Golf 8 airway to Petar, which should be somewhere here. I'm still not seeing it. Did I miss it? Let me just look one more time. Oh, there it is, right in front of my eyes. While we are doing this, let's go ahead and start the boarding. And from Petar, we are taking Uniform Golf 8. That will take us to right here. And from Bag, we are taking, we don't want to board crew, we are taking Uniform Alpha 17, which will take us to Belex, right here. And from Belex, we are taking Uniform Lima 605, and that will take us to Badox, right here. And then from there we'll go to the next page, hopefully. No. Oh, that's interesting, there's no next page. So we will execute this, return and return, and we'll go to the last waypoint, which is buttocks, and do the same thing. Airway, from buttocks we are taking uniform 705, uniform whiskey 705. Well, where is that waypoint? Interesting, I have no way of going down, and I don't know if we can enter those airways. Interesting, this might be another bug. So from buttocks we are taking uniform whiskey 705, and I don't have any room. Can I go here like this? No. Interesting. Oh, I think we found something here. Because we cannot add airways. Oh, there we go. Now it is possible. From buttocks to air mod. From air mod we are taking uniform whiskey 76 to Ceres. And that is our last waypoint before our start. Let's return and select our arrival. We are going to do, and let me see here, VOR Zulu to runway 7. So let's see. VOR DME 07 Zulu, that one. Our star is going to be Seri 1P. That's selected, and our transition is going to be KSR1. No via at this point, or via KSR1, no transition. Execute. We might have some discontinuities that we might clean up. That's one. Clear this, execute. And that's the end of the flight planning. Let's take a look. Our passengers are boarding the aircraft. We have done the performance initialization. Now we have to set up our MCP. Altitude is going to be 17,000. I'll check the star, but we shouldn't have any restrictions as far as I remember. That is now set. We will select heading and nav to arm LNAV, and we will select indicated airspeed and VNAV, so VNAV is armed. That's all good. We can check the EFP for performance. Our speed should be here. We rotate 106, V2 110. If we select auto, this should bring the speeds. Hold on, let's go and go to the menu, performance initialization. That's all looking good. And we have that. Altitude is set, but I'm not sure why we are not seeing our speeds here. Is that because our engines are not running? Because this should bring the speed. That's a little bit interesting, but we will figure that out. Again, I'm still learning this aircraft. I completed maybe just one flight with it. We'll put the weather radar to standby. And we go to here, we plug in a transponder code that we pull out of the thin air 1423. We are not ready to turn the transponder on just yet. And I think boarding is getting close to be completed. So we can start our engine and get our passengers a little bit warmer because it's 8 degrees in the cabin. So to start the right engine with propeller brake, we turn the fuel pump on and we'll select starter A and B, and we will hit start. We will see the NH increasing. We are below about 10% already, so this is what we will do. We will put the condition lever to Ground idle, I believe, is that gate, and that will introduce fuel, and we will have AC power when that happens. Okay. Yep, it is looking good. We should have AC power, and we can go ahead and turn off external power. That's okay. This is gonna show low pressure because we are not generating AC power right now. TRU is not on, transformer rectifier, but we can dismiss the ground power, and we also have to tell GSX to dismiss the GPU. Alright, so as you probably know now, we have the checklist, final cockpit preparation. That's parking brake is engaged, altimeters are set, landing elevation is automatic, FMS is set, fuel quantity on board is checked. We have 2,260 kilograms of fuel. By the way, we need to enter that transponder code. Engine fuel used is reset, memo panel is checked, this is all good, power management is at takeoff, and the procedure completed. This is before propeller rotation. We need to wait for the boarding to be completed to do that, and now we start to see the speed here. I think the reason we didn't see is we haven't confirmed the takeoff data yet, but we will do that during this checklist. Let's take a look at to see how the boarding process is looking. It's going on. I will complete the boarding and bring you guys back for the rest. Alright, our last pieces of luggage is being loaded and we are almost done with boarding after that last luggage. There we go. And we can just jump into the cockpit and start closing our doors. We should see a boarding completed message from GSX up here. That's what I'm waiting. Do we have more? I'm not sure. We might be waiting for... Yep, boarding completed. There we go. So now we can close the cargo door and main door, and we can also remove the wheel chocks after verifying one more time that the parking brake is engaged. There is also this hydraulic auxiliary pump if you have low pressure on your hydraulic system. Let's go here and I'll explain what I mean by that. Systems page. That's our hydraulic systems. Our brake has 3000 psi, so which is green, but if it was low, you can press this to recharge your brakes, but we are good for now. Okay, we'll just move this to ND and remove the wheel chocks. We are ready to... We are not going to request pushback. The reason behind that is we have a taxiway that we can take and turn around to the taxiway to get to our runway. Our departure runway is 27, which is that end of the runway, so we have a very short taxi. Alright, let's continue with the checklist before propeller rotation. Cockpit door locking system, that's here. We'll just put it to deny, so that cockpit door is locked. FMS takeoff data, that's that comes automatic if you don't touch it. I think it's here. Confirm takeoff data, confirmed. Trims, that's up here. Let's set our trim to 1.1. That was our trim setting. 0.1 up, one more, that's set. Tail prop is on board, doors are closed as we see here. Seat belts are on, and beacon, I have it bound to a switch on my controller, so I will turn it on. So beacon is on and the procedure is complete. Now we can go ahead and disengage the prop brake That prop brake is also displayed here, prop brake. We will disengage that, close the guard, and we are going to watch for the NP. NP is at 14%. We can move the condition lever to auto, which is this notch here, I believe, yes. So then the propeller will rotate, as you see, and we should be ready to start our left engine. Low pitch is normal until we are ready to take off. So let's go ahead and start our left engine by turning the pump on and engaging the starter. We are doing the same thing. We are watching for, actually, let's go to system. Yep, we are watching for 10%, which we already passed. So we will move the condition lever to idle. And we are watching for the propeller rotation to hit 10%. And we will move the condition lever to auto. It's getting there. The oil pressure is increasing, temperature is increasing, ITT is increasing, rotation is good. We passed 10%, condition lever to auto, and we have a good engine start for the left engine. Very good. So that's done. We'll set our flaps to 15 degrees and we'll continue with the before taxi checks. FWS recall, that's flight warning system. I think recall is here. Nothing comes up, so we're good. There are some click spots. Cockpit comb hatch is closed. Condition levers 1 and 2 at auto. Anti-icing is not required. TRU, transformer rectifier unit, is on and checked. Anti-skid test, we can perform one. That's set. Flaps 15 degrees, that's seen here. And then nose wheel steering is right over here, hidden under this guard, but it's already on, so it's not turned off by default, so we are ready. Probes 1, 2 heating failure, that's the probe heat that we didn't turn on. That message should disappear as soon as we turn the probe heat on, and we are ready to taxi to the runway. Let's put the ND here. Let's put the taxi light to on. And let's disengage the parking brake. And one more thing is to turn our transponder to on before we start taxiing. Parking brake is disengaged, and that's the taxi checklist. We will take a look at that when we clear the apron. Taxi lights, takeoff lights, we are not going to turn them on yet. The checklist says turn them on. I'm not sure if it's a standard procedure for the ATR, but I am used to turning them on prior to entering the runway, and that's what I'm going to do. We'll check the brakes. That's the taxiway we are going to take. FGCP, FMA checked. Normal takeoff config test, that's down here. To do that, we'll wait until we get close to the runway because we need to turn off the gust lock. Alright, runway 27 is ahead. This is going to be a short taxi, as I mentioned. The windsock is calm and the wind is blowing from our takeoff direction, so we should be, or we are going to take off into the wind, which is always good, and we'll keep taxiing. There is the taxiway and the trees around the airport. That's the city of Eskişehir behind the trees, and let's just keep an eye on our taxi direction to maintain the center of the taxi line. This aircraft will just accelerate to 15 knots of ground speed, and you are always welcome to use the brakes. By the way, the departure heading is 268. We can set that heading to 268 while we are taxiing. There we go, that's set now. You can also tune to a close by VOR and set the course, but I'm not gonna do that. That was in the Discovery Series videos, but I'm not sure if that's necessary. I think it's a good idea to have a secondary nav aid if something fails, but as I said before, there are no failures in this aircraft, so we already know nothing's gonna fail and aircraft will fly the programmed GPS flight plan route. We will hold here momentarily before entering the runway. Hold the brakes. Gust lock is disengaged. We'll do a takeoff config test. No horn, always good. And before takeoff checklist. Takeoff briefing is performed. We are departing runway 27 following runway heading. And that's an interesting departure. We are going to do a teardrop for Tokyo 1 Charlie departure, come back on the airport and turn left to our destination. Gust lock is off, flight controls are checked, full forward, we can do that. I'm not sure if we have flight controls in the systems, do we? Not that, not that. I'm trying to see if we have that in any of our system pages. I'm not seeing anything, so we'll assume they are free and correct. Go back to ND. Transponder TCAS is on, boost function is not required, airflow is normal, cabin crew advised, engine bleeds are on, external lights. Now it is time to turn our landing lights to on. We assume we have takeoff clearance. We'll turn the strobe on as well. We can turn off our taxi light. And let's keep going. Lateral flight director bar is centered. Actually not that centered. It will probably center when we start moving, but let's just keep it there. That's probably something we need to check while we are on the runway. Rudder cam is centered and procedure completed. Let's release the brakes, enter the runway, and we will do our takeoff roll. For takeoff, we will push the throttles to notch, which we will see at the FMA, and then the power management will command for takeoff power. We will rotate at 115 knots and until roughly 100, because this aircraft tends to lift off the ground if you don't apply forward pressure on the stick. I'm not sure if it's true to real life, but we'll keep an eye on that and we will be on our way. At about 400 feet above ground, we will switch to climb mode, and at about 1400 we will command autopilot on. Okay, so increasing the throttles until we see notch, holding the brakes for now. It's hard to adjust power, applying forward pressure already, and notch. Okay, takeoff power set, airspeed alive. Let's maintain the center line. 63, 69, 80 knots checked, 100 knots, V1, and rotate. Oh, that was 106. That's V2 that we have over there, but positive weight, gear is coming up. We are increasing the speed. We are above the white arrow, so we can bring the flaps in and increase the range tiny bit and keep climbing. That's looking good. We'll hand fly for a while. Actually, we need to follow the flight director and what it is commanding as such. Okay, that's better. Craft is a little bit heavier on the turns according to my controller setup, but so be it. We are at the altitude we can activate the autopilot, and we need to do the after takeoff checks. So flaps are in. Landing gear retracted. Landing gear is up. Flaps are 0. That's seen here. Power management to climb. Engine bleeds are on. Taxi light is off. We'll leave the takeoff landing lights and takeoff lights on until we pass 10,000. And altimeters we will check. For Turkey, transition altitude is 10,000 feet. And if we go to the performance page, performance in it, where is the transition altitude? I'm trying to, is it in the progress? Menu. I remember seeing it. It's just a matter of finding it now. Because the transition altitude is 10,000 and there is a place where you need to enter that. Not on the progress page. Hold on, let's just go and see. Performance, previous takeoff, there it is. 10,000. We forgot to do that while we are on the ground. Okay. We can keep the progress page here and increase the range. We are going to turn around and do a teardrop. That's not quite displayed on our ND, but so be it. And weather radar we forgot to turn on, so we will turn it on, but the weather is clear, so we are not expecting any weather. Let's center our heading bug. And we are climbing just fine. If we want to increase the climb speed, we can drop the speed by selecting manual and dialing 160. That will increase our climb rate. But for now, I'm waiting for the aircraft to make this turn. And we should be turning very shortly. TCAS is above, we are climbing at the moment. It makes sense to be aware of the traffic above us. After takeoff checklist is complete and we don't have anything in terms of checklist until we are ready to descend. Alright, that's the turn. Let's take a look outside. That's Eskişehir behind us. Very nice. All in all, I think this is a complex enough aircraft to enjoy. It's not like super basic. It's not like a PMDG 737, but it has enough involvement to enjoy flying. So that's why I kind of like this aircraft, and given the price tag, this is just no-brainer in my opinion. Alright. That's the turn, that's the teardrop, which is not literally a teardrop that the aircraft did. We just did almost 180 degrees turn. But so be it. I think these flight plan path drawings need some improvements to properly display a teardrop pattern instead of a line back and forth on its... See, it's trying to turn back to this magenta, and the green is where we came from, so that's a bit odd. It's not matching what I see on Navigraph, but let's just ignore it for now. because it shouldn't be turning on the same route. In real life, there might be other planes taking off and you are just getting in their way or creating a conflict by doing this. But in the simulator, I think it's fine, and as I said, this aircraft requires some improvements. Hopefully it will receive some improvements to make it a little bit more close to its real life counterpart. Alright, we can also, which we didn't discuss, select terrain here if you want to, but we will keep the weather on. We don't need the terrain anymore. We are at 9,000 feet, climbing to 17,000, which is our cruising altitude. And as I said, I was correct, there are no restrictions whatsoever other than about 3,000 when we were making the teardrop turn. 9,500, getting close to the point where we are getting ready to turn off the landing lights. And we will climb like this. After passing 10,000, we will switch to standard barometric pressure and keep climbing until we reach our cruising altitude. That's 10,000. Let's turn off our landing lights. Landing lights are now off. And let's switch to standard barometric pressure. Alright, so this is the takeoff, guys, from cold and dark to takeoff and climb. I will keep climbing, and I will bring you guys back when we are in cruise to discuss the landing and descent planning. Alright, welcome back, friends. We are almost at our cruising altitude of 17,000 feet. And we will jump into the cockpit. We should be at 17,000 now, almost there. And what I have seen in the videos is the moment you reach to your cruising altitude, you set up for the approach by entering the frequencies, etc, etc. So we are at 17,000. We will put the power management to cruise mode and go to the auto speed selection, which will command for 245 knots. I'm not sure if we will get there. So if your cruising altitude is higher than 20,000 feet, the aircraft has some issues climbing because the service ceiling is 25,000, and I had hard time climbing to 23,000 on one or two flights, and what I did to mitigate that is commanded maximum continuous thrust to keep climbing until we reach our cruise. So I'm not sure if this is on par with the real life. I haven't watched a lot of ATR videos, but just letting you know, if that's the case, you might want to switch to maximum continuous thrust until you reach your cruise level. Okay, so that is done. We are at cruise, and we'll go to the FMC. We go to the RMS, which is radio management screen, I believe. So this is the comm radios. We'll switch to nav. 113.90 is not the frequency we have for the approach. Actually, if you are doing an ILS, that copies the frequencies here. But the frequency we need to tune is 116.3. So 116.30, and we can put it on till the active. You can do this from here. I find this easier. Or you can do this from the ND by clicking into the box and typing it using the numpad over here. And pressing enter twice to switch. But I find the MCDU version a little bit easier. This can also auto-tune to the close-by VORs like the Airbus does. If that's your thing, just letting you know. But now our frequency is set, but our course is not. So we will synchronize our heading, temporarily switch to heading mode, and go to the ILS-1 and set our course to our final approach course, which is 072. The course is displayed here, and I'm just rotating the knob until I get to 072. That is done. Back to FMS1, and we can also do the same thing on the co-pilot side and change it to 072. That's done. Back to FMS1, and we can go back to nav. Alright, so that's all we needed to do. We drifted a little bit due to wind. So be it. We have some tailwind favoring us. We are at 199 knots. I don't think we will be able to get to 245 like the aircraft thinks we can, unless we switch to maximum continuous thrust, which I am not going to do. So that's the setup that we need to do for descent. There is also an approach page under the performance page, so we are now at the cruise performance page. I don't know if max cruise does anything. You change this. I haven't seen any changes other than the estimated fuel on board. The winds are received automatically from the sim, so it's coming from the simulator. If you go to the next page, as you see the wind gust, that's all displayed here. We are landing to runway 07. Transition altitude for Turkey is always 10,000, so we will plug it in there. The QNH at our destination, I have to check it by going into the details. There was a way to see the METAR information on Navigraph. I can't remember how. Oh, found it. Okay. The weather at Kayseri, QNH is 1018, so we will plug this here. Selected. And sky is clear, winds are coming from 160. I'm sorry, winds are coming from 150 at 7 knots. So this will change. There is no way to change this as far as I know. Approach speed will be activated automatically when we are close to the airport. I'm not sure if you need to do this manually. You can, I guess, if you want to configure a little bit early. So those are all things that I'm trying to learn while flying this aircraft. Anyway, so this is all we need to do until we reach top of descent. On our progress page, we should be able to see that top of descent is in 56 minutes. So I'll bring you guys back when we are ready to hit the top of descent. Welcome back, friends. We are getting close to our top of descent. We are actually at 14 miles to our top of descent, and we are going to discuss what we are going to do. We are going to do a VOR-DME approach to runway 07 at Kayseri Airport. So therefore, we will not have vertical guidance. We can perfectly descend with VNAV if we want to, or we can choose to do vertical speed and set the aircraft for a 1500 feet per minute descent. The 3 times rule applies here as well, so we need to first descend down to 9,000 feet. If we check the flight plan, we have some restrictions that we already cleared. Next one is 9,000 or above, so we are at 17, that's 8,000 difference times 3, 24 miles before this waypoint. And then 6,800. So we are a little bit late for that, therefore we are going to follow what the aircraft thinks we will be doing, and we will just use the top of descent waypoint and initiate the descent there. Let's synchronize our heading one more time, and when we get to, maybe increase the range and show you what I mean. When we get to KSR, which is the Kayseri VOR, that's 9,000, that's the airport. We will fly overhead at 9,000 and start our descent to 6,800. When we are at 6,800, we'll do a traffic pattern, a teardrop, to turn and intercept the runway. According to the chart, if we set our speed to 160 knots, we need 886 feet per minute descent rate to maintain the 3.13 degrees glide path angle and that will take us down to the runway, and the weather is looking good. We should be visual, so we will continue with the visual approach when we are close to the runway and when we have the runway in sight. So that's the descent and approach briefing. What we need to do, because we are getting close, and I might keep the range at 10 miles. That's the top of descent marker. We are going to set the altitude to 9,000 first, and then we have to activate VNAV again because we are at altitude hold mode right now, and we might have to do indicated airspeed and VNAV. That will give us the VNAV path that we need to follow, and we will monitor the speed and adjust it if need be by switching out of the manual auto to the manual mode and control our speed. Below 185 knots, which is this double orange marker here, we can drop the flaps to 15 degrees, and I believe below 160 according to the placard here, lowering, retracting, 170, 160, oh I'm sorry, landing 150 knots, we can select flaps 30. And our view approach, according to our performance calculation over here, is 104. That can be also found in the EFB, 104 knots, and go around speed is 170. Our missed approach altitude, according to the charts, is 9,000, so we will set that up when we are below 9,000, when we are getting close to landing, and we will continue with landing. During landing, the power management goes back to takeoff. For now, we are going to keep it at cruise during descent, and we will switch it over when we are ready to land, to have the power management command for takeoff power if we need to do a go around. So that's the plan for descent. We are still waiting to reach our top of descent waypoint, or top of descent point marker here, and we will be good to go from there. We still have 5 miles, so not too much, and top of descent is in 4 miles, so let's go ahead and set our altitude down to 6,800 and see how VNAV is going to help us to get down there and maintain the speed altitude restriction of 9,000. If it doesn't, we'll take a look, and I don't think there are any speed restrictions planned. That's for 240, so all the descent calculation is done with 240 knots indicated airspeed in mind, so even at KSR. And let's see what the other speeds are. After M807 we are dropping down to 170, but we will manage the speed ourselves when we get to that way, at that point. Okay, back to the progress page. Everything is good, and we are almost at our top of descent. The moment we pass that marker, we are going to execute indicated airspeed and VNAV. As I said, we can also do vertical speed. I had some problems with indicated airspeed and VNAV, and the aircraft did a nosedive, and the sim crashed the aircraft because of stress to the airframe. But we will see how this plays out now. So we passed that. Indicated airspeed, VNAV, and VNAV path is displayed, and as you see, aircraft started to descend. The speed is increasing. We might want to control the throttles, but let's just monitor and see where we get, and if we need to, we can always reduce the speed by controlling the throttles. So we have the descent checklist here. Let's complete that. FWS is recalled, no warnings. Landing elevation is automatic. FMS nav performance is set and checked. DH and MDA, so we have to set that up according to the chart. Let me just get the yoke out of the way. According to our chart, straight in landing and circle to land. For circle to land, MDA is 5700 and DH is 2237. So we are gonna use DH. And we are going to set that up. This is going to be a little bit long to turn that knob until we get to 2237, and we will round it up to 2240. But let's do that while the aircraft was trying to turn and descend. The maximum is 9900. Alright, that didn't work. Is this in... I'm not sure if this is like... Well... Oh, hold on. We'll set that to 701. Sorry, I was looking to the wrong part of the chart. 701. Okay. Our speed is creeping up, so I'm gonna come back on the throttles a little bit. Reduce the throttle to slow the aircraft down a little bit. And stay there. So decision 8 is set. Arrival briefing is performed and the procedure is complete. Approach mode, that will do the same thing because this is a VOR DME approach and we don't have any vertical guidance. Therefore, we drifted quite a bit, by the way. We can use that, or we can use nav, because we are only tracking a VOR and vertical guidance is on us. That's the airport in front of us. We are going to get back on track here in a little bit and follow the course to the airport. Speed is looking good now. That's according to the calculations. We are still on the VNAV profile. This magenta square or rectangle is showing that we are on profile, and the descent rate is matching the magenta indentation or arrow indentation, whatever this symbol is called. And we are descending at 1500 feet, 1600 or 1400 feet per minute. So we are looking good. We are on profile. If we start to lose the profile, we will take control and reduce the speed a little bit more, but we need to eventually cut the throttles to make that turn and drop below 185 knots. So we are waiting just a little bit for now, and I'm monitoring the speed and adjusting the throttles as necessary. But for now it is looking okay. I am going to keep you guys here so that you see the entire descent and also watch what I'm doing. We will do the approach checklist. We will select it for now. We will turn the seatbelt signs on when we are below 10,000. And they should be off. Yes, they are. We will turn them on. I turn them off when we are at cruise level. But we are looking good in terms of the profile and the speed. Aircraft is getting back on track. That turn was super wide, by the way. I'm not sure why we drifted that much. Maybe it was our speed, I don't know. But according to the FMS, everything was calculated based on 240 knots descent speed. So we will keep that in mind. As you see here, we also have the restriction in magenta, which means the VNAV will level off at 9,000 feet and go down to 6,800, and from there it's on us to keep descending. When we are getting close to that teardrop turn that you see here, it's not quite looking like a teardrop, but after this turn we will switch to heading mode and go to ILS-1 and arm the approach so that we can track the VOR and turn towards the runway. And we will, at this final fix 07, we will command the vertical speed descent of 900 feet per minute. That is the plan for now. We are coming down to 12,000 feet. Looks like we are good. Let's just zoom in a little bit more to see better. I think I'm gonna keep it at 10-mile radius. There is no traffic. This airport is usually less traffic airport. There are flights in the morning and landing flights in the evenings, but nothing in between as far as I remember. I'm not sure if the schedule has changed, but not too many flights are happening per day, maybe 3-4 outbound and 3-4 inbound flights. Speed is looking good. We are still... oh, the marker dropped to 170, so let's cut the throttles. So the aircraft wants us to slow down. We will just go to idle, and that will slow us down. These are the things that we need to watch. I think the aircraft is trying to get us prepared for landing or configured for landing. Below 10,000 we are going to switch to the local barometric pressure. Remember, it was 1018. If the METAR is still the same, I'm gonna double check that one more time. Using Navigraph, open airport, weather, 1019er. So that changed slightly. Let's update our approach page, 1019er. And let's sync our heading one more time. And speed is creeping down. I am happy with how it's looking right now. That's the city of Kayseri you see here. And that's Mount Erciyes on our left, which is the highest, second highest mountain in Turkey, with a summit of 3,917 meters. That's roughly 12,000 feet. That's an old volcano. And there's a ski resort up the mountain that people like to go during winter months. Heading is synced. We are looking good. 9,000 or above, I think we are going to meet that restriction. We should continue towards the left, make this turn, and come back for landing. That's the runway marker right here, that double green lines here. And we are getting to our target speed of 170. So we can go flaps 15. We are below 185. Let's see what happens. And we will increase the throttles just a little bit so that we can keep the speed around where we are, like so. No, we don't want to speed up too much. So that's the hardest part of this type of aircraft, where you don't have the auto throttles. Okay, we are looking good on speed. Nice. The speed goes up and down. That's due to, I believe, the wind. But we are getting to the turn right here and coming down to 9,000. We are above the profile a little bit, so we need to keep descending a little bit faster. But that will correct itself, like you see. The VNAV is doing a good job as far as I can tell. We're making the turn now towards the teardrop or traffic pattern, or circle to land. I think that's what it is called officially. The speed is creeping up, so we need to slow down to 140 according to the calculations. I'm not sure if it's true, but I'm gonna keep our speed like this for now and monitor and see what happens. We are good for now, and we should not have a problem to slow down if we want to. So let's see here, maybe 20-mile range, so we are 11 miles. We should be fine to descend down to 9,000 in that time, or 6,800. Okay, so that's a little bit more than what I thought. Maybe we should cut the throttles just a little bit more. Slow down and help the aircraft maintain and get to the altitude. We are going to sync the heading one more time. Coming below 10,000. Almost there. And we are still on profile, a little bit below. below 10,000. Landing lights coming on. Passenger signs coming on. Taxi lights coming on, because we are going to drop the landing gear and I don't want to worry about the taxi lights being off. So far so good. We are coming close to that turn that I was telling you, where we are going to switch to the heading mode after completing the turn, and before final fix we will switch to nav source and activate the approach mode, or at least arm the approach mode. Alright, looks like we are going to be fine. We are still on profile. We are losing the profile a little bit, but coming back at it. The aircraft manages that, so we will cut the throttles just a tiny bit more. And that's when we need to switch from 6800 to vertical speed mode and command 900 feet per minute descent. That's what we are doing right now. I'm not sure if we can keep the VNAV and reduce the altitude and maintain the profile. That I am not aware, but for VOR DME approach I think vertical speed is the way to go. That's how it's done in real world as far as I know. Well, 7 miles and we are at 9,000, 2,000 to go, roughly 2,200 to go. And looks like we are going to be fine. We are coming down to 160. That second orange double line you see on the PFD is where we need to go flaps 30. That's 150 knots. That's where we are going to select flaps 30, but we need to drop the landing gear, so we are going to keep the speed up for now. And maybe we can go to the selected speed of 165 knots for now, so that the power management can command for it. We are not so ready to switch to the takeoff mode again, but we will eventually. As long as we are maintaining the profile, I think I'm fine. We are monitoring the overspeed tape here. Make sure we are not overspeeding the aircraft. 8,600. 8,500. We are very close and looking good. 6,800 is what we need to maintain, and the aircraft should maintain that. It's coded as a restriction here, so I'm gonna go down. The airport elevation is 3,449. So if we do 3,400, that should get us safely down to the runway. So let's do that. 3,400. And we will keep VNAV for now, but we will eventually switch to vertical speed mode to fly the approach. Oh, we are speeding up a little bit, so let's cut the throttles just a tiny bit and slow the aircraft down to where we were. That's too much, I guess. To keep it around 165. That's better. And we are at 8,000. All looking good here. Now we are waiting for the aircraft to reach the final fix. I know this part is a little bit long. The aircraft is kind of slower, one of the slower airliners, so it takes longer to get to the waypoints. But feel free to fast forward the video. I will try to timestamp it. But if you'd like to scroll to the landing part or the final fix, feel free to do that. I'm just going to record everything in between, in case you want to see it. Alright, getting there. We are going to probably execute the turn at about 1 mile. So synchronizing heading bar will be crucial. We can also make this turn by using the heading mode if we want to. I'm just waiting to see how the LNAV will work to see how good it is. Almost there to make the turn. We should see the course deviation indicator moving very shortly. There we go, now we are making the turn. So let's sync the heading manually this time, because we will eventually turn to this direction where the arrow is pointing. Let's watch the speed. I think I'm going to cut the throttles just a little bit more. I'm slowly slowing down, which is fine. When we drop the landing gear, that's gonna generate a lot of drag. We are descending at 600 feet per minute because we are at that restriction, and the aircraft will level off. As you see now, we are slowly leveling off, so let's maintain the speed and let's not stall the aircraft. Keep it like this. The profile rectangle will move because we are maintaining an altitude, which is fine. And we will eventually get to this heading, I believe. Let's see. I think it's going to be this or close. Okay, we are looking good for now. I'm just waiting for the VNAV to do its thing. But we can also, we don't necessarily need to perfectly follow the flight path. We can sync the heading, switch to heading mode, switch to FMS, and arm the localizer. There we go. There won't be a glide slope. Uh-oh, we started descending. That's not what I wanted. Okay, let's maintain 6200. That's what happened before. Let's go to altitude hold again and heading. At pitch hold, let's do vertical speed, get back to 6800. So that's on me. I shouldn't have done this too early, I guess. Okay, we should climb now. And we are making the turn. So I'm not sure if that's a Mach GS mode. That's interesting. Let's switch to nav. And we are almost at the final fix. And yeah, I'm going to cut the throttles. This part, I'm not sure if it's working as it should. Vertical speed. I'm not getting there. Okay, the altitude. We will drop the altitude to 3400 again. Vertical speed, and we will command a 900 feet per minute descent at 169 knots of indicated airspeed. Therefore, I'm gonna cut the throttles to drop to 160 knots, and we should be on the VOR. I'm not gonna use the approach mode for VOR DME. I think that's not what's meant to be used. So let's maintain the speed at 160 and descend like that. We need to get closer to 4800, and I will eventually get down to the approach speed because 160 is too fast for us to descend. Let's see the table and see what else we have. 120 knots, 660 feet per minute. So let's cut the throttles to idle, let the aircraft descend. I'm not sure if I'm liking this. Let's drop it to 120. or set our approach speed. Can we do manual? Maybe we can. And now it is time to go back to takeoff mode. Approach. Seatbelts are on, landing lights are on, altimeters. That's something we forgot to set, I believe. Yep, now it's set. Cabin altitude. We can check the cabin altitude by going into the systems page, which was a quick spot here, and then we'll just clicking to the system page, I believe, to get there, or just use the button. That's sort of easier. Yep, cabin altitude is looking good. Let's focus on landing. Alright, we are slowing down. So now let's drop the landing gear. We are at 140 knots. Let's select full flaps and slow the aircraft down. Should slow down, not overspeed. We are looking good. I haven't seen the radio altitude yet. I will command for 600, 700 per minute, and the speed should go down to our approach speed of 104, and we will just continue visual from here. That's the runway. We are looking good here. The aircraft is trying to manage the descent. We started to see the radio altimeter. I still feel like we are a little bit too high, but the airport elevation is not that high as well, so let's keep slowing down. And let's see if we can properly land this baby. Alright, let's switch. Let's synchronize the heading. I like this view better. We need to get to 4,800 here. That's what the aircraft is trying to maybe follow. I don't know. Increasing the vertical speed rate is not doing anything. I'm not sure that's the correct alignment of the runway. This is the taxiway, that's the runway, and we are not perfectly aligned, so we have to command and go visual at some point, and that might be due to the... no, that's not due to the wind. We'll see what happens. We are traveling towards the runway threshold, which is what I wanted. Okay, let's shallow the descent to 600 per minute. And I'm not sure why vertical speed is jumping a lot. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll keep it like this. Can we go to the notch? No, it will speed us up. We'll keep the idle throttles. That's not what power management does. Before landing checklist, let's complete that. Cabin crew advised, landing gears 3 green, seen here, flaps checked, power management takeoff, TLU low speed checked, icing AOA light is off, and external lights on. Okay, we need to increase the speed. So that's what we need to monitor from here on. That's what we need to monitor. The aircraft should maintain the speed. We need to give it enough throttle to maintain that speed, and it should start. I'm not sure if we are descending fast enough. So let's go a little bit more and see how much distance we got left. 2 miles. I think I'm gonna disconnect autopilot and continue visual from here. Let's make this turn and align with the runway, cut the throttles, and drop the nose a little bit to descend just a little bit faster, because I think we are still high. Looks like the vertical speed mode and VOR DME approaches are not super fun in this aircraft. We can set the heading to 072, which is the runway heading. And I think we are now getting back on the profile. We are a little bit fast, I am realizing that, but for now we will keep it like that. And we completed the before landing procedure. So that is a better alignment, and I think I'm still not seeing the puppies. Puppies are showing that we are still high, so we need to keep the nose down. And drop the altitude selector even more, because now we don't need it anymore. We are visual.
Approaching decision height.
Okay, continue. If we deceive, yeah, we are getting to the decision height. We are still too high. We need to keep descending a little bit faster. Oh, there's the puppy, one red. And we are off to the left. Two red, two white. Let's maintain that control our speed. 500 checked, now 3 reds. We are going to give some throttle and lift the nose up. That should correct our pitch and our profile. Speed is looking okay, we are close to the landing speed. 2 whites, 2 reds. So now all is looking good. Okay, 3 reds again. Let's pitch up, adjust a little bit more. And from here it's us controlling everything. This is looking good. 2 red, 2 white still. We are on the center line as far as I can tell. Our alignment looks okay.
200.
200 checked. 3 whites. Let's drop the nose just a little bit more. Cut the throttles. 2 reds, 2 whites again. Okay. Passing the threshold, we are still a little bit high,
30,
but we'll be fine.
20, 10,
Pitch, flare, and we should put the wheels on the ground. Reversers are on. Take the center line. It's slowing down. We don't need to slow down much, so reversers are off. Idle, thrust. We'll roll down the runway towards the end and we will take the exit at the end of the runway. There should be an exit to the right. Oops, drifted a little bit. I was looking to the chart. Actually, the exit to vacate the runway is on the left, yes. It should be at the end of the runway. But now, while we are doing this, we can pull the flaps in. Still not ready to manually brake. We are still doing fine. We will slow down to 15 knots when we are vacating the runway and continue our after landing checklist. Weather radar back to standby. That's checked. Flight controls are locked. That's the gust lock. Flaps are 0. Trims. We will reset the trim. This is our turn. I am not sure why this aircraft is having a hard time turning every time after landing. Interesting. Okay. So now we turned. Let's keep going. We were resetting the trim. Just a little bit more. Let's reset. Landing and strobe lights. Strobe and landing lights are coming off. They are off. Taxi light can come on. Oh, they are already on. We turn them on. Okay. Anti-ice. We didn't turn it off. On. Prop heat. We can turn the prop heats off. Check that. TRU. We can turn TRU off as well. Now after at least 2 minutes, condition levers 1 better than wheel 50. I'm not sure what that means, but we'll figure that out. So now we are going back to the apron. This is going to be a long taxi. And maybe we can just go a little bit faster. So the condition levers, okay. I think 2 minutes has passed. We'll just put them to feather. And then fuel 50. That's done. That's completed. Okay, we will keep going until we get to the parking position. We are getting close. It should be on our left side. The right side is the military apron. The left side is civil apron. So that's where we are trying to get. These are the buildings you see over here. And we will park at a parking stand, which should be pretty empty at this time of the day at Kayseri Airport. Again, sorry for missing that taxiway. I panicked and hit the brakes and didn't realize there was a taxiway. So that's my bad, guys. My apologies. Again, coming back to the sim after 2 months. You quickly get rusty, so that's what happened. But I think all in all, this was a nice flight, except I didn't understand how the vertical speed was not working. So that was a little bit interesting to experience. Other than that, I think this is all good. Alright, we can switch that off now. We can go back to 100 knots or whatever the lowest is. We don't even need the flight director. We can go to the standby for the FMA and bring the flight director back to center it. And we are doing 26 knots on the taxiway. I think you are not above 30, that's fine. I just want to get to the parking position as quickly as possible. And we will shut the aircraft down and request deboarding, which you don't have to watch. I just do it for fun. This regular video will be probably published tomorrow because it's already late in the night, midnight right now, so I don't have time to edit the video and get it ready for publish. So you'll probably see it a day later. But again, it was great to come back and meet with you guys again. Appreciate you all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the support. And I promise more videos will be coming. Hopefully a little bit more frequently than before to close the gap of that 2 months. Alright, getting closer to the apron. I think we can switch the transponder to standby now. The idle. And we'll take this left turn. We have to travel on the runway just a little bit. And then get to the civil apron to park the aircraft. Right, we are a little bit faster to execute this turn, so let's slow down a little bit. Take the turn. I feel like we were traveling faster during the takeoff taxi, and now we are a lot more slower after landing. I don't know if it has anything to do with a bug in the aircraft. It seems like we are not picking up speed quite as fast like we did during the taxi. I wonder what is the reason for that. And I have one more thing to test to see if we can do that when we park the aircraft, because I wasn't able to do that before. And that's engaging the prop brake to maintain electrical power until we can connect the GPU, or just stay on that power for a quick turnaround or keep the right engine running. So see that we are super slow, not sure why. I'm not sure if the brakes are holding when they are hot or if it's a bug. This is kind of super slow. I have to increase the throttle way too much. To get there. Interesting. Okay, that's our taxiway into the civil apron. Yeah, we probably need to slow down to make this turn. There we go. That's better. That's really better. And right side is where we park the aircraft. That's usually the first one. Over here is the international terminal. The second one is the domestic. They are side by side. Believe it or not, Kayseri receives some international flights as well, due to being close to the famous Cappadocia region in Turkey, where you can see fairy chimneys and a historical open-air museum with cave houses and churches, etc., etc. Alright, we will go down and park to stand number 2 or 1. Past the international terminal. Gosh, this is too slow. So that's international. It's in Turkish language, so that's what it says on the door. And over here is the domestic terminal. Alright. Well, finally, we made it there. It was a slower taxi. Not sure why the engines are screaming. And we are at flight idle. No reversers. Not sure why we can't just pick up some speed. Okay, we will turn here and park to stand 4. Off the taxi light. We don't want to blind anyone. And that's our parking spot. So let's see if I can park better this time. That's usually a challenge to figure out where the nose wheel is in relevance to the markings on the ground. So that's the domestic terminal. I'm not sure why the windows are not clear. This is like a custom scenery I found on flightsim.to for this airport. Okay, let's see. I think I need to let the nose pass and stop like this. let's set the parking brake, go outside and see how good I parked. Not bad this time. Okay, so what we are going to do is kill the left engine, go to idle first, and then stop the left engine, engage the prop brake, and see if we managed to do that properly. Yes, we did. Prop brake is engaged, left engine is pulling down, and we still have electrical power. We can turn off the window heats. They are already turned off, but we can. AC gens will stay on fault because we are only generating DC, I believe, from the right engine. Left engine can go back to off. Engine 2 pump will stay on. Engine 1 pump will turn off. Beacon can come off. Nav lights will stay on. Seatbelt signs and no device can come off. What else? Passenger oxygen can come off. And DC gen will stay on. I'm not sure if right AC gen. No, it's not working. Okay, so we are going to do the parking checklist. Parking brake engaged, taxi takeoff lights off, condition lever 2, FTR, beacon off, transponder standby, tail prop on position, seat belts off. So aircraft, tail prop, that's on position. And now we are ready to open the doors, put the wheel chocks in place, and request deboarding. There you have it, guys. Thanks for being here today. This was a fun flight. Oh look, there is some elevation data mismatch down there. That's bad. I hope they fix this stuff around the world. Maybe this is due to the scenery, I don't know. But it is what it is. Again, thank you for being so patient and watching this video till the end, if you have done that. And it was great to come back and be together with you guys and publish another video after so long. I'm gonna cut it here. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.